I always have to take a few minutes after Margaret sings because I forget what I'm supposed to say every time. Or I look at my outline and I think, oh wow, tweak, tweak, tweak. So this gives me a couple of minutes. So this month we are doing two things simultaneous. The basics of this philosophy, which I try to do once a year, but very specifically this time tied to everyday life things, everyday life stuff. It seems to me when I'm teaching classes or I'm counseling with people, we learn spiritual truths and we take classes and we read and we get to this place of spiritual knowledge where we know a lot. But it seems sometimes that the gap is applying it to, oh, that? Oh, that? So applying it to things like our abundance and our finances, yes. Applying it to our health and our wholeness and our vitality, yes. Applying it to our relationships, yes, my favorite. Taking the philosophy from just our nebulous thoughts and, oh yeah, I believe God is all there is, to really using it in our everyday application. That's what this is all about for me. I begin today with inner peace because this one is relevant to all the others. This will weave through all of the others. So I'm setting the tone with inner peace. And I really invite you to take this on today as only for you. So as I'm speaking, if your mind goes, yeah, but what about, and then you go to things like wars taking place on our planet. For today, I want you to make this just about your application of inner peace, because what I know is you will not be any good for global peace if you have not first attained it for you. Okay, so really let this be personal for you today. Global will come with it later down the line. So let me start with Ernest Holmes. I have quite a few things for him to say because he does talk a whole lot about inner peace. Here's sort of a description he starts with, and I'm going to make this gender neutral and make it about us and not he. Ernest Holmes says, peace is an inner calm, obtained through our knowledge of what we believe and why. Without this knowledge, there is no lasting peace. Nothing can bring peace but the revelation of the individual to oneself and a recognition of our direct relationship to the universe. A recognition of our direct relationship to the universe, to the one song, to the source, to God is all there is, which is our very first basic, again and again and again. Click. God is all there is. This basic number one over and through everything that we do. No matter what the subject is, if we can keep this in our head and know what we believe when we say God is all there is. Because it's kind of hard to say there's a being in the sky that's all there is. It'd have to be a really big being. To say God is all there is, the one source, the one power, the one energy works better for many of us. The energy of all life is all there is. And no matter what your question is, this really is the answer over and over again. And as Ernest Holmes said, what do we believe that is? We have to know what we think that is. And when we turn to the source within, what is that for us? So that is always basic number one. So then I teach and I struggle on my own and I find all of us struggling, and then I come up with this question over and over and over again. If God is all there is, if this is true, and if God is peace and love and creativity, like we say it is, and if this source is omnipresent, as we teach it is, everywhere all at once, then what on earth is there to be disturbed about? Mm-hmm. If this was a class, I would just let you ponder that, and we journal that, and we meditate on that, because that in and of itself, this is what we do. We struggle with stuff, but if we can take our mind back, if it's all there is, if it's love and peace, if it's everywhere present, which means right here, why am I disturbed? Which leads us to problem number one, which is not up there. Problem number one is looking outside of ourselves. looking outside for our answers, looking outside for our sense of well-being, looking outside for the divine, looking outside to see what else is going on. Both Margaret and Gianni set this up perfectly because both of their readings and songs was about turning to the silence within. But for so many of us, it's like the last thought. Oh yeah, darn it, I should have been praying all this time. Oh, I should have been quiet all this time. But instead, we find ourselves running around trying to fix things on the outside, trying to control things on the outside, looking for answers on the outside. We're human, we do that. But the message over and over again is to look within. I don't know about you, but I can look out in the world and I can see all kinds of things to get riled up about. It's easy to do so. We look out and we see all these things that seem to be angst-provoking or anxiety-provoking or fear-provoking or that gets us off of our peace. We look at other people and we say they need to change. Those people need to change. They need to do something different so I can be peaceful. I do know that one. I do know it really well. If only they would be different. Part of one of your readings was that. The ego says, if everything falls into place, then I'll be peaceful. The spiritual truth says, when I am peaceful, everything will fall into place. But we tend to want to control what's going on out there. So if everybody else would change, if I can just get you all under my control, I'm doing it kind of frenetic on purpose, then I would be peaceful. We look for evidence, or we find evidence of unpeaceful things all around us. That's a choice too. We'll put that over there for right now. But we can look out and we can see all kinds of evidence of what isn't peaceful. If you take a moment and think about some of the things that kind of disturb your own personal peace, you might want to reflect on how many of those are actually simply your judgments. And I'm not saying that to scold you, because I have to do the same thing. I've shared with you, and I will share again, simply for the purpose of example, that sometimes I get unpeaceful or out of balance by what other drivers do.
Talk to her, Michael.
You know the humor in it. And I consider myself a pretty courteous driver, but I find that when I get unpeaceful about it, it's because I'm judging their behavior. It's all it is me judging that behavior. They're just doing what they do, minding their own business, cutting people off, or doing whatever they do, but it's my judgment that makes me unpeaceful. The event is just a neutral event. It's me who gets my...
Hand her up.
Thank you. Somebody else said it for me. Who said that? Say it for me.
Panties in a wad.
Did you all hear it? I don't have to repeat it. Yeah, we get ourselves all wadded up all the time. It's my judgments. And when I really stop to think about most things that get me personally, remember this is you personally now, this is not about the war going on over there, because that's another subject. When I personally get myself off track, it's usually my judgment. So check it out for yourself. It may not be for you, but what I know is that we, the collective we, are the ones who allow other people and situations to disturb us. On some level, we are allowing it to disturb us. It's our self-responsibility factor. We can look at the situation and say, okay, I see that this is disturbing me. I have a choice now to let it. But honestly, if we're really honest with ourselves, we're the one who allow others to disturb us. To allow ourselves to get off of our peace. It's because we're allowing ourselves to on some level. If that sounds harsh to you, the really good news is that you are also the one who allows yourself to get back on track. You are also the one who gets yourself back in alignment with that peace. So that's the good side. The flip side of that, choice. Ernest Holmes says to us, to learn how to think is to learn how to live. I love that. I love that from day one. He doesn't say to learn what to think. That's your business, what you think. But to learn how to think is to learn how to live. That's a really strong basic for us. We're learning how to think from the highest source that we can.